Only Russia and China can throw an EMP strike. It takes 8 or 9 nuclear EMP weapons in the high atmosphere to take down the grid. So forget about Iran or North Korea. It takes Russia or China. And they're going to do it 15 to 20 minutes probably before they strike the military. It's my analysis that they're not going to strike cities per se, but they're going to strike only military bases and missile bases so that they can blackmail the West into submission. They don't want to destroy the infrastructure. They want to take over. General Hao Tian of China in 2011 gave a major speech that was leaked to the Epoch Times saying, we're going to take over North and South America. We're going to cleanse the people with biological weapons, and because we need living space. We've run out of agriculture space in China. You know, China can't feed itself. They import almost a third of their food, a lot of it from the US. We feed China. But they need living space. And Hao Tian says, we're not going to be nice like the Nazis were. We're going to be ruthless. Now, they've been trying to design a biological weapon that will hit Caucasians but not Asians, so that they can strike us and it won't bite them back. They haven't been able to do so. They've been dovetailing with Israel, who's been trying to do something that will attack Arabs but not Jews. And it's not going to work. That's why China's gone back to nuclear weapons, because they haven't been able to get a cleansing bioweapon. But I'll tell you, our own government's working. You know, there's over 150 biolabs our government runs around the world. That's how evil this is today. Yes, there are 7 labs in Ukraine. But what the mainstream media or what the conservatives don't tell you, who are using that as an argument about not defending Ukraine, Ukraine is corrupt. This is going to bring me to the major point of contention with conservatives. I am the only journalist in the United States that blew the whistle on the fact that the Soviets faked their own demise. Communism just went underground. They faked their own demise. There was one other journalist in the UK, Christopher Story, who did the same thing. He and I eventually collaborated, but he called the fall of the Soviet Union fake as well. And the proof is there. In fact, Putin even admitted that to Tucker Carlson in his interview with him in Moscow. He said, and I quote, the Russian leadership effectively initiated the fall of the Soviet Union. Tucker didn't blink an eye. He didn't understand what he was hearing. He didn't remember that the official narrative is that it was an uprising from the ground up that the Soviets couldn't control. Remember that? Students in Leipzig began to protest. Students in Moscow and Red Square began to protest. But there's a backstory to it. Where were the Stasi when the students were protesting in Leipzig? The protesters never dared protest before because they knew the Stasi was watching, and they had tried and had been arrested. But Erich Honecker on his deathbed, the dictator of East Germany, said, Moscow gave me orders to have the Stasi stand down and let the student riots or protests in Leipzig go forward. Same thing happened with the KGB. They were told to stand down so they didn't arrest anybody in Red Square when they were listening to Yeltsin on that tank talking about democracy. And the television station that was broadcasting Yeltsin's message to the whole Russian world was still run by the communists. Why didn't they pull the plug? Because it was a fake thing. Now, Putin told another lie to Tucker Carlson. He said, why did we do this? Why did we pull down the Soviet Union? Because we wanted peace with the West and cooperation. Now, that was a lie, too. The reason they did it was to get aid and trade because they were falling behind in the arms race. You know, and conservatives have been told, Ronald Reagan told Gorbachev to tear down this wall, and he did. And we applaud Reagan, destroyed the Soviet Union, but he didn't. It was a fool's errand. They gave credit to Reagan so that you would buy into it. It's one of the 3 major deceptions in the world. Global conspiracies. The fall of the Soviet Union, the fake fall of the Soviet Union. The 9/11 was a terrorist attack. Those are the 3 worldwide conspiracies that most everybody in the world has bought into. You shouldn't be one of them.